So today I want to look at this Bosch Multitool. The model number is a PMF 190E. I actually just kind of stumbled upon it. I found it on the local marketplace, and it was the price for it was like $5. It's of course faulty, and I thought, yeah, why not? Why wouldn't I take a chance on it? So I bought it, and it was already shipped the same day, so it arrived maybe an hour ago. So shout out to that person for shipping it so quickly. And the issue with this one is that it does not power on at all. So if we plug this into a socket, put some power into it, then we can see that nothing is happening. Also, if we mess with this dial right here, then yeah, it's basically not doing anything. So it's exactly as described. Yeah, I think this might actually be a quick fix, since before I actually bought it, I just put in the model number into Google to see if maybe there are common faults with this product, and basically instantly it seems to be a very specific issue with the coil, which sits up here where a wire can get loose basically. So of course, the best case scenario for me would be that is actually the issue with this one. I mean, the symptoms do actually align where this thing does not power on at all, but of course we will give it a visual inspection and just see if we can fix it. It would be a pretty nice addition to my tool collection, since I do not really own a lot of power tools, so it might be nice to have for the collection. And of course, for $5 I can't complain. I mean, if you can't fix it, well, too bad, but well, I don't think we would have lost much. So to take it apart, we have a couple of screws. We have 4 in the front, then 4 in the back, and we should be able to take it apart with a T15 Torx. Those should be all the screws, so now we should be able to just take it apart, I think. I'm not too sure how it actually comes apart. Those seem to help. So we'll put one right here as well. It's a little weak. And there we go. So here is the inside of the multi-tool. And yeah, basically to be straightforward, we want to look at this coil, and then specifically at the wire ends we have of course also one right here, and it's supposed to be making a connection to this side. So if we grab a multimeter, we should have continuity from this plate right here to this place right here. So I think we are just going to check that to see if we can maybe detect a problem there. And then while we are at it, can also of course check the lead to see if the power is going into the item. I mean, visually it's not looking too bad at all. I mean, I don't really know a hell of a lot about power tools, but it doesn't really look like this has done a lot of work. To my eyes, it looks pretty clean. So I think if this were to be working again, that might actually make for a really nice addition. So if everything is right, there should be a multimeter in the top corner right now. You should be able to read the values up there. So my multimeter is in continuity mode. I put the leads together, then you can see the number change. That's perfect. So let's just start with the beginning. Let's start with the lead right here. So one is live and one is neutral, which of course goes to right here. So let's just start with the neutral. Check these. Make sure that my leads are properly connected. And you can see that we are making a connection right there. And on the live side as well, I do see the ohm amount change a little bit, so maybe we need to tighten these a little bit to make sure they make a proper connection. But At least it does actually get to here, so delete should not be the main problem we have, which means that we can continue to look at this coil we have right here. So we are going to use continuity mode as well, and we put one probe on the right side right here. If we put the multimeter probes right here, we do actually get a continuity pad, which means that the wire in here is maybe actually fine. Maybe a little bit disappointing, but it's okay. It definitely became much more interesting right now, that's for sure. Yeah, we definitely get continuity right there, so this should be fine. Which means that I'm already at a bit of a dead end, and I'm not really sure how to continue. I will at least try to tighten these screws a little bit. This one is definitely fine. This one is also pretty fine. A little bit, but that should not cause a problem right here. That's perfect. That's also perfect. So delete is definitely not the problem. At least this whole system seems to be moving very smoothly. So I do not think there is an issue there. Even right here, there's plenty of grease on there, so I don't think that's an issue either. So yeah, I think I will need to think about what could be wrong here, and I will be back with you if I have made some progress. Alright, so it has been maybe 10 minutes since I stopped recording, and it seemed that like I have talked too early, since what I did not realize. You can see I have taken it apart, and now we are on the other side. So first we were looking at this side, and we have measured this coil. What I did not realize is that if we turn it around, we have another coil with the same setup of the wires being connected to this metal plates. So if we take our multimeter, if I put it into continuity mode, is a good idea. And if we measure on these metal plates right here and right here, we get nothing. So you remember me talking about a loose wire on these coils? Turns out that it was on this side where it is faulty in this case. So if we test the other one, which we tested earlier, you can see we get continuity. And here we get absolutely nothing. So I want to take you under the microscope, then we can get a better view of this wire. Since I suspect it's this wire which is faulty, and if I take my tweezers and I pull on this gently, yeah, there we go. It's completely loose. So this is obviously our problem right here. This wire has come loose from this clamping right here. So here we can see how it is supposed to look. It's supposed to be nicely clamped between here. Here it has just completely loosened. I did not even use a lot of force, and it just came out like that. Of course, we can check the other side as well. So this side should still be connected. If I take my tweezers again and we try and pull this a little, and I can already tell that this is basically very firm in here. And this should not be going anywhere. So how are we going to fix the wire on the other side? By simply soldering the wire back into position is the most common fix for this, and I think I will also follow that. I have no idea if solder is really a more permanent solution. I mean, solder can go bad over time, obviously. So I think for this one, it may be a good idea to actually solder this on. At least this is all the same plate, so I think to solder this, I might need to dull the plating a little bit so the solder can make a proper contact. I mean, to start, I should probably clean it actually. And of course, since the wire from the coil is enameled wire, so it has a layer on top of it, so we need to scrape that off basically, either with heat or you can even use a knife to just scrape off the outer side. I'm not going to do that in this case. There's just not a lot of wire to work with here. So I will just use my soldering iron to try and get enough leverage so we can make a proper connection. So to actually scrape this a little bit, there's a few options. I will just take some older tweezers which I do not really use that much anymore, and just scrape off an area of the metal plating. I'm not even sure if it is really necessary. I think something like that. It's not really doing that much, but at least I have a bit of an idea where we can rejoin this wire. It's of course a very tight space we are working with, and it also looks like the outer side of this wire has maybe perished a little bit. It's not in as great of a shape anymore. So we do not want to use that part of the wire. I guess we can just leave it be, but just need to make sure that we actually contact with, for example, this point of the wire. Yeah, I think this works. Should be able to properly connect this wire. I mean, I can of course cut it off, but I'm kind of afraid that I may maybe cut off too much. And of course, we do not have a lot to work with. I do not want to go to jumper wires and that sort of stuff. I would like a direct connection. So I think this should do. We will at least try it with that. I mean, I think I will first grab the soldering iron, and we should be able to get the enameled off of the wire and actually pre-tin it a little bit to make life easier. And then we will put some flux on the metal plating, and we should be able to give that a proper connection. So it seems to be quite hard to get enough heat in here to scrape off the enamel. So even though I said I wouldn't do it, I guess I will try and get a knife in here and see if I can scrape it off instead, since it's taking a little bit longer than I thought it would. And yeah, we can see that we already have some more shine, which means that we can actually solder onto there. So yeah, this is clearly a lot more effective than trying to burn it off. Maybe due to the massive size of the coil, it's just a lot more difficult, or maybe you need a higher temperature. I was on 360 Celsius, but I guess if you are trying to do this repair as well, just take a little knife and scrape it off. It's definitely more effective. So I think we have a decent enough working space where the solder can connect, so that should be plenty. So next up, I'm actually going to be putting some solder on right here on the metal plating, of course, and trying not to burn the plastic. Okay, so that's on there. Then of course the last step is to actually get this wire on there. So I need to straighten it a little bit. So that should be able to reach it perfectly. So rinse and repeat with the flux. Then we should be able to make a nice connection. I guess I almost forgot about the step where I'm supposed to pre-tin the wire a little bit. That definitely helps with the connection. There we go. Might need to switch iron tips. Of course, due to the space, I'm using some bent tweezers or a bent soldering iron tip, which may not provide sufficient heat in this case. So I will actually swap it out for a knife tip right here. It has a bigger surface where solder can stick, so it should make for an easier job. It's not really sticking as nicely. I guess it's due to the enameled wire still, the enameled part of the wire still being on the top of it, which I did not notice, so I will try and scrape that as well. Should maybe make it a little bit easier. So let's see if that helps me out a little bit. It's definitely a little tricky, maybe a bit more trickier than I thought it would be. Yeah, that is more like it, but I like to get more connected. There we go. Yeah, I am happy with this. This is a solid connection. I think enough of the wire is actually connected with the surface right here. And if I pull on it with my tweezer, yeah, this is not going anywhere. So this is perfect. Took a little time, but we got there eventually, so that's good. Always important, of course, to take your time with these type of things. And for me, it's a first in actually opening up a power tool and working with that. So, but yeah, I'm content with this. So, of course, for the next important part is, of course, grabbing the multimeter again and seeing if it actually makes a connection to the other side now. So here we have our multimeter again in continuity mode. So first I want to test from the plating to the solder blob, which makes a perfect connection. Great. Then we're going to go from plating to plating, so from here to right here. And you can see that the connection is restored and we get around 20 ohms reading from the coil. Guess we can check the other one as well, see what ohm reading we get. Yeah, you can see also 20 ohms, so they have a similar reading, which I think should be good. So yeah, I think that we have a great chance of having a working device again. Of course, before I'm going to test it, I will put it back together fully. So I will do it right now and then I will be back with you soon. Alright, so we have put the multi-tool completely back together, all the screws are in, and now we are going to test it on camera at least. I've already tested it off camera, to be fair. Reason is that if anything would go wrong with it, then all of my power goes out in my room, including my computer, and of course we do not want that. But here's the off-camera test. You can see that the power is off. This is at its lowest setting. We are going to turn the power on now. And we are going to turn the device on now. And you can hear that the device is working. So that is absolutely perfect. So of course it will need a bit more testing done. And of course I will need to get some actual tools which you can use with this device, since this just came as this. So we can give it a bit more of a proper test, but at least the device is in working condition and it wasn't so at the beginning of the video. So I guess that does conclude it. If you happen to have this multi-tool, then it is definitely worth it to see if you have a similar problem. It seems to be a very common issue on at least the 190E. I don't think these are sold as new anymore. It's definitely a older model. Not sure what the production date is on this. If it says it somewhere. Oh, here. It's from 2014, so it's definitely quite an old one. I think the newest models of this multi-tool are, I think, the 220E. Not sure if they have the same issues, but at least the good news with this issue is that it is definitely fixable, as long as you have experience with soldering. But yeah, that concludes this. Happy with the results, and yeah, thanks for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video. Have a good day.